We live in a never-before-seen era of consumerism. The dominant global culture today is actually consumer culture. And this culture is not without its issues. I'm sure you're all too familiar with the human rights and environmental issues that abound in the marketplace. But what if marketing could counter the excesses of consumerism? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Isn't marketing at fault for all this in the first place? I get that, but hear me out. So I'm a marketing professor and I research ethical consumption. I'm interested in using the power of the marketplace to bring positive social change. Of course, regular marketing is fun too. I love the art, the creativity, and even the beauty that can be found in the marketplace. Shopping itself is also fun. It's exciting. Marketing can bring new ideas and it brings innovations too. But too much focus on consumption can quickly get out of control despite the emotional high that you might get when you have a great buy. Materialism is the belief that acquisition and possession of material goods leads to ultimate happiness. Ironically, an overemphasis on material well-being leads to lower well-being overall. Studies across cultures have consistently found a negative relationship between materialism and life satisfaction. Materialists often view consumption as a form of escape, yet at the same time feel a sense of a lack of control due to their insatiable desires and even unrealistic expectations. So, I used to buy a lot of stuff too. I grew up in a home without that much money, and as an adult, I finally had some, and I was making up for lost time. And it was fun for a while. One day I realized I'm spending so much time, effort, and even money sorting, organizing, cleaning all the stuff I had. My small apartment was full of stuff. My stuff was taking up more space than I was. Was I paying rent mostly to store stuff? Was this really the life I wanted? Maybe you can relate. The truth is, while consumption can be fun, it never quite fulfills. There's always one more thing around the corner. Our desires are limitless, but the world we live in has limits. The environment has especially been impacted by the seemingly endless greed of the marketplace. Our lack of care, stewardship, and responsibility for the very place that provides for all our needs is concerning. And seeing all this, it can be really easy to be critical of marketing. I get that. But marketing can also be used to power positive change. So think of public service announcements. This was used to great effect during the recent pandemic, educating, convincing people to wash their hands, wear masks. This is a type of what we call social marketing, which is using marketing techniques to influence attitudes and behaviors towards improved individual and social welfare. Since it aims for voluntary behavior change, there has to be perceived benefits for people to bother. And today, marketers are actively reframing our consumer culture to make more sustainable behaviors the norm, the expected good way to act. I'm sure you've all been influenced too, to sort recyclables from garbage, to use reusable shopping bags, to avoid single-use plastic straws, even though paper straws, they're not that awesome yet, right? I'm sure they'll get there. So, social marketing creates pressure to act, and it makes you feel good when you feel you've done your part, especially if there's someone else around to notice you doing so. In these ways, marketing can help create new standards that shift focus away from obtaining more and more stuff toward moving into a place where we prioritize taking care of others and the environment. You see this in the rise of ethical brands today. These brands are mission-driven and see business as a way to help solve social issues. They embed their social mission at the very core of their business models so that as their business scales, solutions scale alongside their success. Ethical brands bring together conventional and social benefits in their value proposition. A well-known brand in this area is outdoor gear and clothing brand Patagonia. They're known for the great quality of their products, and they're also known for putting purpose over profit. Patagonia has donated 1% of sales to environmental causes since 1985, went 100% organic cotton in 1996, and in 2014, they started fair trade. Now, they provide more fair trade goods than any other apparel brand. They also have the Worn Wear initiative, where they help consumers care, repair, reuse, recycle, and even resell their garments through the brand's official channels, instead of pushing people to buy more new things. In 2018, they even changed their official company statement to, "We're in business to save our home planet." Now that's a big statement. Ethical consumers embrace such brands in the hopes that their purchases can help make a better future. To build this understanding, ethical brands do social marketing to raise awareness of issues, to convince people to do their part. Now, Patagonia obviously also does regular marketing too, communicating that their waterproof gear is lab and field tested to guarantee great performance. But they also spend a lot of time, money, and effort engaging consumers to act for the planet. Maybe you've seen Patagonia-funded documentaries that cover a range of environmental issues, from dam removal to soil regeneration from a clothing company. Or maybe even volunteered through Patagonia Action Works, their platform to connect people to local environmental organizations and events. They've created a strong global brand community of like-minded consumers who not only are very loyal to Patagonia itself and their products, but to the causes that they stand for. In the same way that marketing has powerfully shaped social norms and representations of the good life, created aspirations for us to accumulate more and more material goods in the past, can ethical brands use marketing to change what we expect of brands in the marketplace and even ourselves? I think so. But for this to happen, we can't just sit around and wait for the brands to do it all. We have to get in on the action. Now, one obvious thing we can do is to support ethical brands. To recognize that the value they provide actually is valuable, meaning that you're willing to pay for them, just like for any other brand that commands a price premium for being cooler, prettier, shinier, whatever it is. Sure. Moving consumption away from the cheapest, but maybe dirtiest brands to something else may come at some cost to you, maybe in terms of price or convenience or some other factor. But we need to renew our priorities and act like it's worth it, because it truly is. That's a good first step, but at some point, changing the quality of our consumption is just not going to be enough if we keep consuming more in terms of quantity. Let's be honest. Most of us probably have too much stuff and clutter in our lives anyways, right? So, prioritize reducing consumption overall, like thrifting, so stuff that already exists actually gets used up and thoroughly consumed. Or being open to sharing with friends or even online strangers, like in car sharing. Take the time to really ask yourself, that thing you're about to buy, would you still want it around in a week, a month, or even a year? The good thing is, reducing consumption saves money too. Now, whatever you do, start with one small change. Trying to change your entire lifestyle all at once is just too difficult and not sustainable, like that super healthy lifestyle you try to adopt every New Year's for it to last weeks, maybe days, hours at times, right? It's much easier for our brains to do just a little bit at a time because there is a limit to our bandwidth for self-control. So make one small change until it becomes a habit. Once you're mindlessly doing this, the new has become the old. And then space opens back up in your brain for you to handle one more new challenge that takes mindfulness and effort. Slowly, one by one, you can accumulate changes that lead to a whole new way of living in the long term. Now, after realizing that I didn't want so much stuff in my life, that's exactly what I started doing. Little steps really do add up in more than a decade. I'm proud of my growth. And the happier I am with myself internally, the less need for external stuff to fill my home and my heart. Because I buy less, I can buy better and still stay within budget. The things I do buy are better for me, others, and the planet. And with less stuff overall, I was able to buy a smaller house with space for a garden instead. And that's been a lot of fun. So what if marketing and consumption can actually be used as a force for good, where we channel the power of the marketplace not towards the never-ending pursuit of material goods that only satisfy for the moment, but rather towards a new value system that chooses to be satisfied with fewer things that are of better origins, where we all learn to exercise self-control instead of being controlled by our short-term whims and desires, where we all learn to value the stewardship of the world and its people, where that's in fact celebrated. I think this is not only possible, but that we are seeing such a momentum build. I invite you to be a part of this movement for a better tomorrow. What will your one small change be? Just one, a small one. That's all I'm asking of you today. Thank you.